Welcome, Tai Njio here at tainjio.com, offering the Yuen Method educational video series. This video is on circles versus squares. Wow, what a cool concept. What does that mean? Why are we introducing this when we're trying to learn the Yuen Method? Well, there's some power behind it. So let's find out here. So let's look at squares first, because there's something there with squares that's kind of like off. If you look at nature, for example, in nature, do we have squares? Do we have just squares that we see in nature and flowing and in the rocks and in the trees and the planet itself? No, not really. Maybe if you get into geometry, but that's not really going to be squares. So really just thinking of that, it's like squares are not natural. Squares have been created. Squares are like boxes. When we think of working in a cubicle, somebody's working in the cubicle, it's like they've been put into a box. In that box, they're not distracted, their creative mind doesn't take off, and they can just really focus and work on this, probably a computer, probably something they're having to force themselves to be structured. Unfortunately, our homes, most of them are square boxes as well, but maybe that keeps us structured again, so we don't go wandering off into nature, for example. And there's also that saying, when people are feeling restricted and limited, it's like, let's just get out of the box. So there really is something with those squares. And what those squares actually do, now here's the key piece when we're working with the Yuen Method, is that squares actually weaken our energy. So you can maybe feel sometimes, you might walk into your home and you just feel a little bit of, where when you go out in nature you feel uplifted and open and you see the sunshine and you just feel life cycling around you, and when you get home it's a little bit more like down, your energy might go down. Or even just looking out a square window, you see what's beyond there and you have a yearning for that, yet you're blocked in through this square window. So just kind of knowing this, it's just a concept. When we muscle test, for example, if we were to muscle test with our fingers this way, or if you're working on somebody else and you were to muscle test them, and you just think squares on them, it will actually weaken their energy. And when you think squares for yourself, it can weaken your energy. So, I'm really into paying attention to what's around me, even my clothing. So this shirt is really just an example. It's got little squares on it, but it's also got circles. And you'll learn in some other videos too, how you can override these things, actually not let them affect you so much, because we do live in a world where there are a lot of squares, cubes, boxes around us, and sometimes we feel very boxed in. So really we need to strengthen ourselves, make ourselves strong to those boxes and squares. So you got the square part, and just wanted to start with that because that's kind of the limiting piece. And what do we do? How can we override that actually? And what's up with circles? So circles, they're beautiful. They're very soft. They're all encompassing. They have no edges. They have actually no limits. They can expand, move, and contract. In nature, we can connect circles to cycles, to the flow. Things are constantly moving. That would be a cycle motion, circle motion, and we really see that a lot in nature. In our own bodies as well, we can imagine our blood circulating and pumping through the heart and back and through the body, and it's just moving in this circular motion. That's natural. That's easy. That's soft. Same with our other systems. When they're working, they just have a flow. Just imagine, when you're working and you're receiving money. Money is coming to you, and then you're bringing money back out, and you're just allowing this flow to happen. It's kind of like this circular motion. And when we feel blocked with money, it's when it's not coming to us. Or then we get it and we want to hold on to it. We don't want to give it back out to pay for something, and it turns into this very structured, linear, square almost feeling that's blocked, and then money's not flowing. So even money, you want to keep that flowing. In relationship as well, you want to keep your relationships flowing. Communication, that's a good example of things flowing. Imagine when you're standing in a circle with a group of people and you're all holding hands, and in this circle you're creating this powerful energy. It's holding it all in. Maybe you're doing a prayer for the earth, or doing some type of chant, or just holding hands just to be together at the end of a celebration. It's kind of this unity, and it keeps the energy together, and it actually strengthens the energy and the bond between everybody. So there's really a lot to circles. Now, I would love to offer a fun little tip here, how you can use circles in a really fun way. Let's say you're having a moment where you're feeling kind of stressed, or you're feeling off. Just all of a sudden you're feeling off because something happened, and you're like, whoa, you got thrown off. What can you do? Well, one thing you can do is just imagine you're throwing a hula hoop on yourself. So you've got this big hula hoop, and you're just throwing it over yourself. Or blowing bubbles at yourself. So all of a sudden you've got all these bubbles all over you. Just big circles, or just think circle. Just think circle in front of you, or close your eyes and just imagine circle. This is actually very powerful because it's an energy that instantly strengthens us. The really fun part with it, that I was saying, when you have a child, or there's children around, and you see the children maybe arguing, or the child is really sad, and you just feel like, wow, can I just do something really quickly to make that child just, perk up? That's beautiful. Imagine you're blowing bubbles at them, and the bubbles are all over them, or throwing a hula hoop again around that child, or a big circle. Just imagine them in a big circle, or put them in a big bubble. That will instantly strengthen their energy, so that whatever's going on for them will just release. I've done this before, just playing with it and watching a child, and all of a sudden they let go, and whatever was bothering them just kind of slips away. So, and you have to focus that bubble, circle, hula hoop on them. It's the power of your mind going over there and doing that. So that I thought would be really fun for you to know and to actually play with. Also good in an emergency when you see an accident or something happening, and just throw circles and hula hoops on the people that are involved. And maybe that will just at least realign them, take them out of that shock. So I'm actually offering some really important pieces here, and a tool that you can use for the rest of your life. So whenever you're feeling boxed in, or you walk into your home and it's square, or you're needing that extra strength, just think circles, hula hoop, bubbles. Maybe, if you're in a room, in a space, and there's a lot of people, and it's getting a little intense, and you're like, wow, everyone's starting to argue, fill that room with bubbles. So that's really the piece I wanted to share with you, because it's really so important that we use these imaginary tools, and we surround ourselves with more and more bubbles, more and more circular things. I'm going to show you something really cool over here. You're going to see a circle and square, and just see what that does for you. Here it is. Look at that. Look at that beautiful circle. It's like radiating. It's like so much life, and it's just opening our hearts. And then it is in a square frame, because unfortunately most of our artwork is in a square frame. We still have to work on that one. Yet the power of this circle is so big, it actually overrides the square and makes you really feel like, wow, there's an opening there, and it's beautiful and it's radiant. So yeah, that was just something I'd want to leave you with, just to really open your heart and feel that power of the circle. And encouraging you once and again, just use this, play with it. Circles are strengthening, squares are weakening, so surround yourself with more circles and cycles, things that flow. When you feel something is stagnant, blocked, and maybe you feel like you're stuck in a box, just go for those circles. So thank you again for watching. I'm sure you learned something really fun actually this time, and use it, play with it. This is Tai Njio again at tainjio.com. Enjoy.